What's up, everybody? It's Terry back with Nashville Fit Magazine, and today I am at Walker Brothers Kombucha, and I'm excited to introduce you to Luke Walker, one of the Walker Brothers. Where's the other brother?
You know, he's flying back from Colorado right now. So he's sales trip.
Yeah, he's
snuck in a little snowboarding then.
Currently not here.
Yeah.
Playing hooky from work today, I see. Well, Luke's been nice enough to show us around, and we'll show you some of that footage in this video. But this place is amazing. I've got so many questions for you as a kombucha junkie myself.
Yeah.
Been drinking the juice for about 20 years.
OG.
Yeah, right? Tell me how you got into this. Like, I'm dying to know.
Yeah. So growing up, my aunt actually brewed kombucha. So back when I was a teenager, I was familiar with it through her. And I always liked her homebrew. We'd have it at like family gatherings at their spot. So look forward to it in that capacity, but I wouldn't say I was like into that world at all.
Sure.
I was actually like an incredibly unhealthy eater and probably drinker growing up. I just like only ate processed foods pretty much. So basically that caught up with me come college
Sure.
time.
That's usually where it gets all of us.
Yep. So about my like sophomore year of college, I just noticed that I was feeling terrible, and I was back then I was really focused on writing music and was much more interested in pursuing that avenue. But I was getting really bad acid reflux, and so it made it so not enjoyable to be singing or to be doing much of anything.
Sure.
But so I like went to ear, nose, throat doctor and got prescription steroids to try to help. Did like voice therapy. Yeah, did all this shit. And sorry if I can't swear.
Oh, you're good. You're good. You're good.
But basically nothing really helped that much. And then I tried to take matters in my own hands. Went on some like online forums and started reading about apple cider vinegar a lot. It kept popping up on different threads, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this, unpasteurized, unfiltered apple cider vinegar tonics a go. And I started doing that before and after meals, and it was like mind blowing. Like I felt totally good.
Yeah.
That just blew my mind. The power of food, really, to let food be thy medicine.
Preach it right to the camera.
Yeah. And so
food is medicine.
Yeah, it is, and I think that was the first time I had personally experienced that.
Yeah.
And so that really threw my interests and my focus into the world of natural food and beverage. And so I just was fascinated and started kind of channeling some of that creativity that was so in the vein of music into food and beverage. And so I started, making all sorts of weird experiments at home, but like in my dorm room back in college, crazy stuff. But through that, it became very clear to me kombucha, has a lot of the same benefits as apple cider vinegar. It's just a lot more enjoyable to drink.
That's for sure.
It's maybe not quite as much of a powerhouse, but it's kind of more functional because you're going to have it more regularly.
Yeah.
And so, fast forward a couple of years after college, I ended up moving to Nashville. My brother was already here.
Okay.
He was working in craft beer at the time as a sales manager for a local craft brewery. And on my drive down here, I stopped at my aunt's house, and she serendipitously gifted me a SCOBY.
Yes.
And I brought it to Nashville. I was like, oh yeah, of course I'll start brewing kombucha. And so I did. Was just making some tasty non-alc kombucha at home, and I would go over to High Garden back in the day all the time. And chat with those folks, and they were super encouraging, supportive, great people. But my brother Sam and I, we were both craft beer enthusiasts at the time. He still very much is. I've fallen off the wagon a bit just because it doesn't like me. Yeah. It doesn't like him either, but he's got more endurance.
Rebellious in one sense.
Yeah, but the culture of craft beer is incredible. But basically, we would have non-alc kombucha oftentimes after having craft beer.
Sure.
In the same way that apple cider vinegar was so helpful, kombucha was too. And then one day, I just had the thought, like, man, couldn't we just brew a kombucha that would be similar ABV to like a lager or something, and so we'd have those benefits up front potentially, or some of them at least, and not feel as like much gut trouble.
Sure.
So started experimenting with that, and that became this really involved project for me. I was just fixated on it. And then as soon as I was living together with my brother at the time, and so we were working on it together, and as soon as it started tasting good, we kind of just very intuitively put two and two together of like, snap, you're already working in craft beer, you have a big network with local distributors and
obviously manufacturing.
Yeah. I mean, neither of us had that specialty or forte before, so that a lot of that was trial and error for us, but we had the network to
You had
ask
the
questions.
open door, that's what's cool.
And so we were like, yeah, we should start a business. We both kind of have that entrepreneurial spirit. But then he got a pretty compelling job offer from a local distributor, and I got a compelling job offer from another kombucha company, actually, GT's Kombucha, the Synergy.
Which is where I got my start.
Yeah, most people.
Right.
I think that was the first packaged kombucha I had.
Right.
But so we kind of put it on the back burner, and then about a year later, we had a friend who we hadn't seen in about a year, and he knew, last time he saw us, we had all these plans to start this business. Yeah. And so he was like, guys, how's the business going? Like, when is this launching? And we were like, oh, it's
about
actually,
that.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a guy that we grew up with. He, total brainiac, very ambitious person, and was working in investment banking at the time. And he basically just harnessed some of his ambition and threw it at us. I
love that.
Guys, you have a great product. Like, I see a gap in the market for this. If you get me a sound business plan in the next 3 months, I'm willing to put down some money to get this started. I mean, obviously I'll take some equity, but
sure.
But I'm willing to be a partner in this. And so once we had that offer coming from a friend who we trust, we were like, all right,
let's give it a
we
shot.
Can't pass this up,
Let's give it a shot.
Yeah, so we went for it.
And then we're here. How long ago was that from today?
That was 6 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, the business now is just over 5 years old.
Okay.
So yeah,
well, congrats.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
Because this looks older than 5 years old.
Yeah.
So, in the sense of like what you've amassed in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
I mean, congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit. We do share something in common, which is, I'm making a joke. I used to do this. I used to take a SCOBY and make my own kombucha. And I was joking with Luke off camera that mine was very hard to keep consistent and very hard to keep clean. So what you're doing here, you showed me this meticulous process of how you not only produce the kombucha, but cleanliness is of huge importance.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about that for a moment.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably need to tell people what a SCOBY is.
Yeah, cool. I think usually when people come in our facility, they're pretty surprised. One, because it's pretty big.
Yeah, it's huge.
But two, it's really clean. It's for a large warehouse. You gotta do a lot of work to keep things tidy.
Oh yeah.
And also, I think there are associations with kombucha and being more of like a hippie drink, and so people maybe expect it to be a grungier spot, but it's like, no, we are meticulous for sure.
Yeah. Well, and you have to be, because it changes the flavor. It can change the way the organism works. But
for sure. Yeah. If you want to produce a consistent quality product, you have to be super cleanly.
100%. What is a SCOBY?
Yeah, SCOBY is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast.
There it is.
So, an easy way to think about that, a lot of people are more familiar with sourdough than they are kombucha.
Sure.
Sourdough starter is a SCOBY also. So SCOBY can take a lot of different forms. In kombucha, people usually think about it as the physical matter that forms on top of a ferment, which is kind of like this cellulosey pancake thing. It's pretty odd. It's
soft looking, like giant sand
yeah,
dollar.
like a big jellyfish.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
So it's wild. It is alive.
And its job is it eats the sugars, right, and drops cultures.
Yeah.
Right?
So basically, that physical matter is loaded with yeast and bacteria. But what a lot of people don't realize is the most important ingredient of kombucha is not that, but it's the liquid culture, which is also SCOBY.
Right.
So it's fermented kombucha that's already been fermented will be rich in a culture of bacteria and yeast.
Right.
And so having a good portion of that to start a new batch. Basically, if you inoculate sweet tea with that liquid, and at least 10% of the total volume is that starter liquid, that's your MVP. That's your most important ingredient.
And that's the secret that I wasn't doing, hence my inconsistency.
Yeah.
I was just taking SCOBY and putting on SCOBY and wondering why there was a difference from one to the other.
Yep. And so that's where producing at this scale, you'll notice that we still produce things open air. So we like to do that the traditional way, which rather than pumping in oxygen to a closed tank, air is composed of more than just oxygen. So we think we get richer flavors and just a better overall profile by doing it the traditional way.
And I think that's great. You are also using organic ingredients. Because there's a school of thought here that the simpler the sugar, the easier it is for the SCOBY to feed and then drop down the good bacteria. When we're talking about bacteria, we're talking about like probiotics, enzymes. Right. Just so we're clear. But you guys do it. You're not using the refined sugar, and I love that. So talk about that and why it's different.
So we use organic Brazilian cane sugar from this incredible regenerative sugar plant in Brazil, and it's like top-notch sugar. They're setting the standard for the whole world.
I love that.
Of green production. So really cool. So it tastes fantastic up front, but it does mean that your ferments will get adjusted to it. So they are familiar, and basically you're not going to have a stalled ferment. But if you were to use a refined sugar up front, you'd probably see a faster turn time or fermentation overall. But again, you're just not going to get the same depth of flavor.
Well, I would agree, because you're going to lose out on some things. Like, and if you're speeding it up, right? Like, you may get it faster. But you're not going to get some of those, what I think are really powerful nutrients that you'll find in a cane sugar, which there's a ton of minerals in there. So they're not refined out. Right? They're not boiled out. So you're getting to control some more of that. So even a healthier version of the kombucha yet. So.
Exactly. And I mean, a lot of people, kombucha is usually touted for its probiotic bacteria, but our camp of thinking here, we don't make the most acidic kombucha on the market. We actually kind of make a more approachable tart kombucha. That's our sweet spot. Our customers kind of love that. The reason we're super cool with that is that it's not just the probiotic bacteria or that puckering, vinegar that is a health benefit of kombucha. You're getting a lot of antioxidants from tea, and then there's just plenty of different forms of acids present that are good for alkalizing your system.
Overall gut balance.
And then there's like B vitamins present too that emerge through the fermentation process. So it's pretty mind-blowing stuff. But
I love it.
I mean, it's fine if you want probiotics and that's your angle. Kind of angle. That's cool too. But
so what I like about what you're doing and what the kind of industry is doing in the world of kombucha is that you're doing something that's kind of getting us back to how we used to ferment and make alcoholic beverages. You familiar with Gruit? Yeah. So sure. Y'all need to Google Gruit. I'm not going to go into it, but it's Gruit, and that was a thought to be a beer that had tremendous health benefits. And they got away from it because of shelf life. Right. And that's what you're kind of bringing. And
very much
in the light of that, let's talk about your hard kombucha.
That's a great intro. So our hard kombucha, I told you a little bit about it already, but one thing I forgot to mention, which thinking about Gruit brings that to mind, is so when we were making this recipe, which took ages to come up with because we wanted to ferment in the traditional way of open fermentation and having this be a mixed culture ferment. So basically it just means fermenting with the SCOBY, but our hard kombucha is distinct in that we need more sugar up front to convert into alcohol. The yeast is going to convert that into alcohol. But we also use a beer yeast strain basically to make that ferment a bit more vigorous, so that we can not wait as long as a non-out kombucha ferment for it to finish. The reason for that is think about when you open a bottle of wine. Maybe you have one glass, but the bottle's open, and you leave it out, forget to put the cork back. What's going to happen to that wine?
Changes flavor.
It's going to change into vinegar over time, and that's acetic acid bacteria in the air is converting alcohol into vinegar. So that's what's happening with non-out kombucha is yeast produces alcohol, and then acetic acid bacteria actually converts that alcohol and some of the residual sugar into acids, healthy acids.
Sure.
So we want that with our non-out kombucha. We want that with our hard kombucha too, but only to a certain degree. Because we don't want to make a total vinegar bomb with less alcohol than we say it has.
Yeah.
So, but what I was going to say about the Grew It is when we were coming up with this recipe, our two main constraints that we wanted to follow is this has to taste like kombucha, this has to be fermented like kombucha, but we also want it to be similar in flavor and in craft to lambic style beer. So sour beer that is traditionally open fermented and then aged for like 3 years in casks. So we're not aging anything for 3 years here, but actually, we have done some barrel aged hard kombucha, which is really cool. Tastes kind of like a lower ABV natural wine. But
wow, okay.
But yeah, having this hard kombucha, the differentiating factor is we pitched this beer yeast strain, so we're adding another yeast strain to our house culture, which already has like 4 or 5 yeast strains present, and then there's bacteria strains. So the whole trick to the recipe is getting everything to play together nicely. So finding the proper temperature and the proper starting pH and starting gravity, which is concentration of sugar. And
so you're a part chemist.
I mean, I not by background, but by trial and error.
By trial and error. Well,
done my reps.
As much as I'd love to keep going, because I obviously love this content, but I want you to give everybody one, tell them where they can find your product, tell them how they can follow you. Yep. And then what we can look forward to in the future.
Sweet. Yeah. So if you live in Nashville, the easiest place to find all our products, I would say, is the Turnip Truck. They were probably, they were in the first 3 suppliers or retailers to bring us in.
That's awesome.
So we love the Turnip Truck. We do an annual collaboration with them too, and so go support local if you're in Nashville. If you're outside of Nashville or in Nashville, Whole Foods is really easy to find both our non-alc and hard kombucha lines. Trader Joe's also sells our hard kombucha. The Fresh Market.
So you're all over the place.
Yeah, we're kind of all over the place. Those are the bigger retailers, but the most fun spots to find it, I think, are if you just keep your eyes peeled at coffee shops, local bars.
Framework, we talked about that?
Yeah, Sonic Cold Punch Studios, and Yoga Studios. So, we try to flood the market in ways that are cool. A big part of our sales strategy is kind of start on the ground level, start by collaborating with other people that we're inspired by.
That sounds familiar. Sounds like something we do.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I love that.
And then like right now we're getting to the size where we're working with more large grocery chains, retailers, and so that's cool too, but it's not the place where we want to start, We want to have deep roots.
I love it. It's
and
really
then as far as things to look forward to, we are working on a new product line that is not kombucha, so that's a first for us. I'm really excited by that because it feels it's taking me back to the roots of, just creating a totally new product. And, so that will be called Forest Water, and it is inspired by Italian Amaros, but it's kind of an Appalachian spin on that. Cool. But it's also it's just a really unique product because it's an upcycled product. So we're using our excess kombucha vinegar as an extraction method, basically. So normally Amaros are made using neutral grain spirit, and then a bunch of botanicals go into that. Those botanical flavors are extracted by the alcohol. Since we have this really acidic kombucha lying around that could be waste, that we don't want to waste, that acidity is great for basically just sucking up all the flavors of botanical ingredients that we put into it.
That's cool.
So, yeah, so it's basically like I would say it's like Spindrift adjacent in that it's not quite a sparkling water or seltzer because it does have some sugar, but only about 5 grams per can, and it's got awesome botanical, bitter, piney flavors.
Oh, wow.
And we have another one that's so the 2 SKUs we're starting out with. Alpine is going to be this bitter, piney one.
Yeah.
And then Meadow is really floral. It's got like 7 different types of wildflowers in it.
Dang.
So that one's much more delicate, but just nuanced. And so we're excited about those. I don't have an exact date yet.
Dang it, I was about to ask.
We're hoping for.
We'll break the news. Don't worry.
May or June.
We'll break the news.
Yeah.
Well, tell everybody where they can follow you on social media,
Yeah.
and we'll go from there.
Cool. Yeah. So if you're on Instagram, it's just at Drink Walker Brothers. Our website, Drink Walker Brothers as well, and then
we'll see you popping up at events across town.
Yeah,
throughout
for
the
sure.
summer.
Yeah, we've.
That's how we met.
Last year we onboarded what we call the Booch Bus, which is basically a van with our branding on the sides, and we've got 4 tap handles. So if you're in Nashville, look out for that. We try to do a number of pop-up events every month.
That's awesome.
So yeah, hope to see you in one soon.
Out
now
and
that
about.
it's nice out.
Yeah, and we're gonna go drinking kombucha, but we appreciate you guys checking out this video. Make sure you share it with somebody, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Come check out Walker Brothers, follow them, and go grab you some kombucha.
Yeah, and reach out if you have any questions. We try to be an open book here. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Cheers.
Here in Nashville for the 7th Country Music Marathon and Half Marathon. I think it says a lot about the city of Nashville, what it has to offer.